Hello and welcome. You are watching News 9 Live. I'm Ravi Mishra. Let's begin with the top stories of this hour. In another big development in the WFI versus Wrestle saga, the recently elected body of Wrestling Federation of India has now been suspended. The suspension by Union Sports Ministry comes just 3 days after the body was elected on December 21. The reason cited by the Sports Ministry is that the newly elected chief Sanjay Kumar Singh had announced conducting the under-15 and under-20 nationals for wrestling without giving sufficient notice to the participating wrestlers. In an official release, the Sports Ministry said that the announcement for the national competitions was hasty and that due process was not followed. The ministry detailed that the announcement by Sanjay Singh was against the rules, as a minimum of 15-day notice was needed for the wrestlers to prepare. The Sports Ministry statement also made a big allegation on the newly elected body, saying that the body appeared to be in complete control of former office bearer and was in complete disregard to the sports code. And the statement, without naming, refers to Brij Bhushan Singh, the previous president of the Wrestling Federation of India. Brij Bhushan Singh has been accused of sexually harassing several of the female wrestlers. Among the most prominent voices against Brij Bhushan have been Olympic medalist Sakshi Malik and Bajrang Punia, after Sanjay Singh, who is an aide to Brij Bhushan Singh, was elected president of the WFI on December 21. Sakshi Malik quit wrestling in protest and hung up her boots in televised press conference. Bajrang Punia returned his Padma Shri award in protest as well. So now the results of these kind of protests are coming on the surface. And as we have seen that the suspension order has come from Sports Ministry. We are now being joined by Nisha Dahiya, who will give us more detail about the situation. We will talk to her, but right now the situation is again at a point of conflict with the WFI and the wrestlers. As you can see in the pictures, how the Sakshi Malik was crying before the announcement of her retirement. On the other hand, Bajrang Punia returned his Padma Shri award in protest.
देखिए, अभी मैं फ्लाइट में था, अभी मुझे बहुत डिटेल पता नहीं और उसका लेटर मुझे नहीं मिला है। वो लेटर लेने के बाद मैं उसको देख लेता हूँ, फिर बताता हूँ मैं उस पर आगे क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना है। बस अभी कोई कमेंट नहीं, अभी कोई कमेंट नहीं। पहले मुझे देख लेने, केवल एक सुनने में जो आया कि एक्टिविटी पे मेरे रोक लगाया है। तो अब क्या एक्टिविटी पे रोक लगाया है क्या नहीं है, तो उसको मैं अभी देख लेता हूँ, उसके बाद करता हूँ। अभी कोई कमेंट नहीं, केवल एक्टिविटी पे जो सुनने में आया कि एक्टिविटी पे रोक लगाया गया है। WFI फैसले लिए गए जो भी है, अभी कोई कमेंट नहीं है। इसके बाद मैं लेटर अपना देख लेता हूँ क्या क्या है क्या नहीं, उसके बाद मैं कमेंट करता हूँ।
Sanjay Singh was trying to avoid the questions after the suspension of the elected body. The recently elected body of the WFI, Wrestling Federation of India, is suspended. And when the questions were put before the Sanjay Singh, he said that I'm not informed well about the decision. Let me see once and then only I can react on this. The suspension by the Union Sports Ministry comes just 3 days after the body was elected on December 21st. The reason cited by the Sports Ministry is that the newly elected chief Sanjay Kumar Singh had announced conducting the under-15 and under-20 nationals for wrestling without giving sufficient notice to the participating wrestlers. This was a ground before the announcement, and in an official release, the Sports Ministry said that the announcement for the national competitions was hasty and that due process was not followed. So let's go through the entire event. So the decision was made by newly elected executive body of the FBI, because ministry has questioned about those decisions demonstrate the blatant disregard for the established legal and procedural norms. So the norms were violated. It is being said in the press release, and that's why the entire body has been suspended by the ministry right now. Although Sanjay Singh tried to avoid those questions related to this new decision, and he said that he will go into the details of the instruction and decision by the ministry, and then only he can comment on the issue. Moving to the next story, India is witnessing a resurgence of COVID-19 cases coupled with concerns about the JN1 subvariant originating from the Omicron strain. The first case was reported in Kerala. The country reported 752 new cases, with a spike in active cases of 3,420 as per the update by the ministry. The World Health Organization classifies JN1 as a variant of interest. INSACOG chief Dr. N.K. Arora assures no extra vaccine dose is needed for JN1. The symptoms of JN1 are similar to Omicron, and experts advise remaining alert but not panicking. The Serum Institute of India applies for a license for a JN1. Let's listen into what AIMS Director Dr. Randeep Guleria said on COVID-19 variant.
It is spreading more rapidly, and it is gradually becoming a dominant variant as far as COVID-19 is concerned, both in the US, in Europe, Singapore, and we are seeing more cases in India also. So it is causing more infection, possibly because it is more transmissible and taking over the older strains. But the data also suggests that it is not causing more severe infection, it's not causing more hospitalization, and most of the symptoms are predominantly of the upper airways like fever, cough, cold, sore throat, running nose, and body aches.
Sir, as of now, like COVID variant cases are also coming, flu, RSV cases are also rising. How to stay healthy in this particular season? So
this is the season when you will see viral infection, respiratory viral infections becoming more. Every year we see them, whether it's influenza, now COVID, and as you said, RSV and other viral infections. So, and that happens because of the temperature, because of crowding. It's a holiday season, people travel, so they will carry the virus with them. There is crowds, and many of the crowds are indoor because of the cold weather, and that leads to the spread of infection in a number of people. So I would say what we need to do is, first of all, COVID appropriate behavior. Wash your hands regularly. If you have cough and cold, cough into your armpit or into a tissue so that you don't spread the infection to others. Avoid going to crowded places, especially if you have fever, cough and cold, because you may be spreading the infection to others. And if you are in the high risk group, that is if you have comorbid conditions like diabetes, chronic respiratory diseases, chronic kidney disease, or heart failure, or you are in the older age group, then you should wear a mask if you go to a crowded place, or if you can, avoid going to an indoor crowded place because you can catch the infection.
Sir, as of now, do you think there is requirement of a vaccine which is variant specific if I talk about JN.1?
You don't need a variant specific vaccine. You need a vaccine which covers a broader, let's say, type of the virus. We have had multiple mutations. JN.1 is a sublineage of Omicron. So a vaccine which is made against Omicron will be effective against this variant also. But I think we need more data first to show what is the current immunity in the population and what is the protection that we are having based on the previous vaccination that we've got. Based on that only can we decide that do we need a new vaccine which covers the current circulating strain, and that is something that will have to be done on a regular basis because variants will keep changing. So if we say that we need a vaccine against this, then it may be something that you will need another vaccine after some time. So we need to have data as to how frequently do we need to vaccinate and what would be a good vaccine which would cover a broader range of variants which are there or which may emerge in the future.
There are two issues. One has to look at the global data and what is happening in India. Globally, this subvariant of Omicron has spread quite rapidly during last few weeks. Within India, from November onwards, actually I think it is October last week and then till now in last 8 weeks, we have just seen about 22 cases. And there is no evidence that it is spreading very rapidly.
And various states, including Delhi, have begun review their COVID situations. The situation prompts heightened measures of Dehradun hospital, while Mizoram urges adherence to COVID norms. The overall global COVID cases increases by 52%, prompting vigilance but not panic. The aims reassure people, stating that there is no need to panic but to stay vigilant. Health officials in Assam and Jharkhand affirm preparedness and readiness for any surge in cases. The Assam Health Department directs hospitals to gear up against the JN1 subvariant. Let's show you a mock drill conducted by Lady Harding Hospital.
कोविड बहुत तेजी से फैलता जा रहा है और इस वक्त मैं अगर बात करूं 640 शुक्रवार को नए मामले दर्ज किए गए और इसी वजह से स्वास्थ्य मंत्रालय ने निर्देश जारी किया है कि संक्रमण की निगरानी और उसके साथ ही साथ स्क्रीनिंग बहुत ज़रूरी है। इसीलिए अस्पतालों में आज से मॉक ड्रिल शुरू हो गई है। मैं लेडी हार्डिंग हॉस्पिटल, तो किस तरह से उसका तुरंत इलाज हो सके, कैसे उसको तुरंत फटाफट ट्रीटमेंट मिले, इस वजह से देखिएगा सारा मॉक ड्रिल किया गया। पेशेंट आया, सबसे पहले यहाँ पर डॉक्टर्स उसको किस तरह से ट्रीट कर रहे हैं देखिएगा तुरंत। इस तरह के मॉक ड्रिल सारे हॉस्पिटल्स में होगी एक एक करके। इस वार्ड में जो ले जाते हैं और ये जो उसमें अंदर ले जाते हैं, उसका ट्रीटमेंट इस तरह से पेशेंट का होगा। और उस तरफ देखिएगा दूसरी साइड आईसीयू वार्ड्स बने हुए हैं और इसी तरह से और भी रूम है। मैं उधर भी जाती हूँ, वहाँ पर भी पेशेंट केयर यूनिट्स जो हैं। हाँ, ये बार बार कहा जा रहा है कि ये जो आप देख रहे हैं ये बहुत ज़रूरी है। मास्क लगाएं, हाथ धोएं बार बार, और ये दूरी रखनी। देखिए पेशेंट्स को लेकर जा रहे, अगर कहीं और शिफ्ट करना पड़ता है, कोई सीरियस कंडीशन होती है तो देखिए कहाँ ले जा रहे हैं।
कोविड-19 वार्ड जो हमने फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे एस्टैब्लिश किया है, वहीं पे पेशेंट को ले जा रहे हैं।
अच्छा, देखिए कोविड वार्ड में ले जा रहे हैं।
जी।
पहले उसका यहाँ पर टेस्ट किया था आपने?
जी, वहाँ पे इनिशियल जो असेसमेंट करके फर्स्ट एड देके अगर एडमिशन की ज़रूरत होती है तो फिर हम वार्ड में एक डेडिकेटेड वार्ड हमने एस्टैब्लिश किया है, तो वहीं पे ले जाते हैं।
अच्छा, ठीक है। तो यहाँ पर देखिएगा पेशेंट को फर्स्ट फ्लोर पर लेके जा रहे हैं। मैं कोशिश करती हूँ कि वहाँ पर जाके हम ये किस तरह से ट्रीटमेंट दिया जाएगा तुरंत, और वहाँ पर मैं देखूंगी। तो देखिएगा पेशेंट को लेकर हम यहाँ से तुरंत लेकर जाएंगे और ये पहले इसकी जांच की गई कि कहीं कोविड तो नहीं है। तुरंत टेस्ट के बाद जैसे ही पता चलेगा तो इसको वार्ड में लेकर जाएंगे, जो कोविड वार्ड है। तो देखिएगा कोविड वार्ड में लेकर जाएंगे हम इसको अभी यहाँ से फर्स्ट फ्लोर पर, तो जहाँ पर कोविड वार्ड बनाया गया है। तो ये मॉक ड्रिल चल रही है दरअसल, तो मैं आपको यहाँ पर दिखा रही हूँ, ये मॉक ड्रिल का हिस्सा है। हाँ, देखिए यहाँ पर लेकर आ गए हैं और यहाँ से पेशेंट को निकालेंगे लिफ्ट से और फटाफट इसको यहाँ से कोविड वार्ड जो है वहाँ पर लेकर जाएंगे। तो देखिएगा पेशेंट को यहाँ से लेकर जा रहे हैं लिफ्ट से और अब ये कोविड वार्ड में ले जाएंगे। तो देखिएगा यहाँ से कोविड वार्ड जो है इधर से ले जाएंगे, पेशेंट को ले जा रहे हैं। और देखिएगा कि जल्दी ये जो है ना बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट होता है। तमाम पेशेंट, बहुत सीरियस पेशेंट्स भी आते हैं, तो उनको लिए तुरंत जल्दी से काम करना, एक एक मिनट बहुत कीमती होता है। तो मॉक ड्रिल में यही सब कुछ जांच परख हो रही है कि कहीं कोई कमी ना रह जाए, इसलिए पहले से सारी तैयारियां हो जाएं। को जो भी कमी अगर दिख रही है तो उसको समय रहते तुरंत उसको ठीक किया जा सके। तो देखिएगा पेशेंट लेकर जा रहे हैं वार्ड में, कोविड वार्ड है ये। और यहाँ देखिएगा पूरी टीम जो है, डॉक्टर्स हैं, नर्सेज भी हैं और सब फटाफट उसको लेकर वहाँ पर पेशेंट को, और ये यहाँ पर जो फर्स्ट फ्लोर पर कोविड वार्ड बनाया गया है। देखिए हम आपको कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि मॉक ड्रिल का एक एक हिस्सा दिखा सके कि क्या क्या मॉक ड्रिल में ज़रूरी होता है, कौन कौन सी चीज़ों का ध्यान रखा जाता है। ताकि आगे कोई दिक्कत ना हो। अगर कभी पेशेंट्स अचानक से बढ़ते हैं तो कोई प्रॉब्लम ना आए। देखिए फिर मैं दिखा रही हूँ ये बार बार आपको। मास्क पहने, हाथ धोएं बार बार और दूरी रखें आपस में। 2 गज की दूरी जो बात की गई थी, ये देखिएगा, ये डिजास्टर वार्ड है यहाँ पर और यहाँ पर पेशेंट को लेकर आए। देखिएगा ये कोविड वार्ड है फर्स्ट फ्लोर पर और यहाँ ये बेड्स आपको दिख रहे होंगे। मैम कितने बेड्स यहाँ पर हैं? 30 बेड्स हैं।
हाँ 30 बेड्स हैं यहाँ पर।
और ये आईसीयू बेड्स नहीं है?
नहीं, ये आईसीयू बेड्स नहीं है, ये वार्ड है।
अच्छा
हाँ,
इसके बाद बाकी के बेड?
ये सारे, ये पूरा का पूरा 30 बेड्स जो हैं वो डिजास्टर यूनिट या कोविड वार्ड में अभी हमने कन्वर्ट कर दिए हैं इसको। तो यहाँ पे थोड़े स्टेबल पेशेंट लाए जाएंगे, आईसीयू नीचे।
अच्छा आईसीयू को नीचे है, जो मैंने अभी नीचे दिखाया तब वो, और ये जो है नॉर्मल कोविड वार्ड है।
हाँ, नॉर्मल कोविड वार्ड।
तो देखिए पेशेंट यहीं पर एडमिट होगा, तुरंत आएगा तो, और यहाँ देखिएगा ये पेशेंट को एडमिट कर दिया गया। तो ये सारी प्रोसेस होगी जो कि देखिए डॉक्टर सब देख रहे हैं। तो यही एक एक स्टेप बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट होता है, एक एक मिनट बहुत कीमती होता है। इसलिए जितना कम समय में पेशेंट को एडमिट किया जाएगा उसका इलाज भी उतनी ही जल्दी हो पाएगा।
So report on mock drill for COVID and stumbled upon Money 9, my secret weapon for mastering finance and thriving in the economy. Dive into unparalleled financial wisdom with Money 9, the ultimate app to decode finances and pocket real-time cash. Grab control of your financial journey starting now.
जानना है तो देखिए, समझना है तो सुनिए, सीखना है तो पूछिए और कमाना है तो खरीदिए। जानकारी, सलाह और निवेश सब एक ही सुपर ऐप पर। पैसे का सवाल है तो जवाब है मनी 9। आजादी पैसे की, अभी डाउनलोड करें।
And Delhi's air quality has plunged to severe level, hitting an overall air quality index of 467. Widespread areas have recorded alarming AQI levels, mostly surpassing 400. The government has implemented stage 3 restrictions under the graded response action plan and attributing the sudden spike to unfavorable weather conditions like fog and low wind speed, according to the Commission for Air Quality Management. The Haryana and Uttar Pradesh governments are urged to consider suspending physical education classes due to declining air quality. Exemptions from the construction ban included projects related to national security and healthcare. Weather disruptions included thick fog have affected flight operations at IGI. The city experiences a minimum temperature of 9.6 degrees Celsius, with the Indian Meteorological Department prediction moderate fog throughout the day and a maximum temperature of around 23 degrees Celsius. The allegation for the Maratha, agitation for the Maratha reservation is once again on the boil. Maratha quota activist Manoj Jarange has announced that he will start an indefinite strike at Azad Maidan in Mumbai from January 20 to intensify his demand for the community's reservation. Addressing a massive rally in B district in the Marathwada region, Jarang claimed that the crores of people from Maratha community will come to Mumbai on January 20. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Eknath Shinde in a video message said that the Supreme Court has accepted the curative petition filed by the state government pertaining to the Maratha reservation issue. Shinde also informed that the Supreme Court has scheduled a hearing on the matter on January 24 and has quote unquote opened a window of hope for the Maratha community.
सबसे पहले मैं सर्वोच्च न्यायालय को धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं, क्योंकि महाराष्ट्र की जनता की भावना को उन्होंने ध्यान में रखते हुए क्यूरेटिव पिटीशन को स्वीकृत किया है और 24 जनवरी को खुले कोर्ट में उसकी सुनवाई रखी है। ये मराठा समाज के लिए बहुत ही दिलासादायक बात है। उनको जो आरक्षण मराठा समाज को सामाजिक और शैक्षणिक बैकवर्डनेस उनका जो सिद्ध करना है, इसलिए ये बहुत बड़ी बात है। और हमारी एडवोकेट की टीम जो है ये पूरी ताकत से 24 जनवरी को कोर्ट में सरकार की तरफ से पैरवी करेगी और पूरी तरह मराठा समाज सोशली और एजुकेशनली बैकवर्ड है ये साबित करने के लिए पूरी जोर शोर से मेहनत करेगी। क्योंकि इसलिए बैकवर्ड कमीशन का गठन भी हमारी सरकार ने किया है। एम्पिरिकल डेटा जो है लार्ज स्केल पर वो गठित करने का, कलेक्ट करने का काम भी हमारी बैकवर्ड कमीशन है वो कर रहा है। हमने उनको भी विनती की है जल्द से जल्द ये एम्पिरिकल डेटा और रिपोर्ट सरकार को सादर करे और निश्चित रूप से इसका भी फायदा 24 जनवरी को हियरिंग में निश्चित रूप से होगा। क्योंकि पिछले समय में जब मराठा समाज का आरक्षण रद्द करते समय जो त्रुटियां, जो खामियां, जो ऑब्जर्वेशन कोर्ट ने रखे थे, उसको ध्यान में रखते हुए पूरी तरह ये मराठा समाज कैसे रहता है, उसकी क्या हालत है और मराठा समाज सोशली, एजुकेशनली कैसा बैकवर्ड है, ये साबित करने के लिए हमारी टीम काम करेगी। और निश्चित रूप से अब मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि मराठा समाज को न्याय मिलेगा। हमारी सरकार की भूमिका स्पष्ट है, मराठा समाज को आरक्षण देते हुए अन्य समाज के ऊपर अन्याय ना हो, इसे भी ध्यान रखते हुए हमारी सरकार की भूमिका स्पष्ट है। और अभी ये भी मैं कहूंगा कि जरांगे पाटिल जी को आंदोलन करने की नौबत नहीं आएगी, क्योंकि अभी काम शुरू हुआ है। जो क्यूरेटिव पिटीशन जो है वो लाइव हो चुकी है और इससे मराठा समाज को निश्चित रूप से न्याय मिलेगा। कानून व्यवस्था बनाए रखना हमारे सबकी जिम्मेदारी है और यहाँ पर शांतता और सुव्यवस्था रखना हमारी सबकी जिम्मेदारी है। और इसलिए सभी का मकसद एक है, मराठा समाज को आरक्षण देना। तो इसलिए सरकार पूरी तरह मेहनत कर रही है, सरकार पूरी तरह ईमानदारी से काम कर रही है। इसलिए सरकार पर विश्वास रखना ये भी जरूरी है और इसलिए सभी लोगों ने संयम रखना, संयम बरतना जरूरी है। इतना ही आह्वान, विनती मैं आज के इस उपलक्ष्य में करता हूं।
So, Chief Minister of Maharashtra on Maratha reservation issue. Moving to the story from Kerala, development in Kerala politics. Transport Minister Anthony Raju and Ports Minister Ahmed Devarkovil of Kerala have submitted their resignation to Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan. The vacant positions are set to be filled by KB Ganesh Kumar and Kandanpalli Ramachandran, who will be sworn in as new ministers during a ceremony scheduled for the 29th December. The exact reasons behind the resignations and the unfolding details of the situation are yet to be revealed, adding an air of anticipation to the evolving story. Now let's move to the war zone of Gaza.
The following content may contain visuals that are disturbing, graphic, or sensitive in nature. Viewer discretion is advised. This material is intended for mature audiences and may not be suitable for all viewers. Please exercise caution while watching, and if you find such content distressing, we recommend discontinuing viewing. This disclaimer is provided to ensure awareness and to prioritize viewer well-being.
Israel battled Hamas militants on Saturday in pursuit of its elusive goal of full control of northern Gaza after the UN Security Council appealed for more aid for the Palestinian enclave but stopped short of demanding a ceasefire.
Doctors attend to wounded patients in a tent in Jabalia as the fighting in northern Gaza raged on Saturday. Residents reported persistent aerial bombardment and shelling from Israeli tanks, which they said had moved further into the town. It follows an appeal from the UN Security Council for more aid for the Palestinian enclave, though it stopped short of demanding a ceasefire. U.S. President Joe Biden spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Saturday about the situation in Israel and Gaza.
I had a long talk with Netanyahu today, and it's a private conversation.
While leaving for Camp David, Biden told reporters he did not ask Netanyahu for a ceasefire. Israel's main ally has kept up its support while expressing concern over the growing casualty toll and humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Netanyahu's office said in a statement, the Israeli leader, quote, made clear that Israel will pursue the war until all of its objectives are fully met. At least 201 Palestinians have been killed over the past 24 hours, taking the death toll to over 20,000 during the 11-week conflict, the Palestinian Health Ministry said on Saturday. Thousands more bodies are believed trapped under rubble. Hamas's armed wing said it had destroyed 5 Israeli tanks in the area, killing and injuring their crews after reusing 2 undetonated missiles launched earlier by Israel. Reuters could not independently verify the report. Israel said more than 140 of its soldiers have been killed since it launched its ground incursion in response to an October 7 rampage by Gaza's ruling Hamas militants. 1,200 people were killed and 240 hostages were taken back into the enclave. Hamas said on Saturday it had lost contact with a group it said was responsible for 5 of the Israeli hostages due to Israeli bombardment. More than 100 hostages are still believed to be in Gaza.
And the Israeli army released a video that showed an extensive network of tunnels that were built by Hamas. The tunnel complex has electricity and blast door inside it. The Israeli army are sending a dog squad with the cameras to explore the tunnels. And we will be back after a short break. Keep watching News 9 Live.
तो जब हम करेंगे तो पता लग ही जाएगा सलमान खान का करेंगे मारेंगे या जोधपुर में मारेंगे तो पता लग जाएगा
This is someone who is sitting inside our jails and is still very obviously and openly running and possibly the largest organized criminal operation in the country.
Student organization of Punjab University में सोपू का acting president type भी रहा है.
He was a troublemaker, getting into fights with people, not coming to the class.
As on GIT, it appears that Lawrence gang is the most important, the prominent gang. Gangs here in Punjab, they are intimidated.
Today he is India's most dangerous gangster, and India's prisons are apparently no bar to how Bishnoi runs India's largest criminal empire.
News is now content. Just stream it. Download the world's first news OTT, News 9 Plus, ahead of the curve.
वर्ष 2070 तक भारत नेट जीरो का लक्ष्य हासिल करेगा.
There is certainly a wall of capital coming into the clean tech, climate tech space, not just in India but across the world.
The scale of the attack was something that we were surprised at. David Hadley was a double agent. The Americans did not want him to be fully exposed, so all that he probably shared with the Americans was not shared with us in terms of intelligence. If we had that, I'm sure that we would have been able to deal with the situation far better.
This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News 9 Plus. Download now.
जानना है तो देखिए, समझना है तो सुनिए, सीखना है तो पूछिए, और कमाना है तो खरीदिए। जानकारी, सलाह और निवेश सब एक ही सुपर ऐप पर। पैसे का सवाल है तो जवाब है मनी 9। आजादी पैसे की, अभी डाउनलोड करें।
Welcome back. The US Supreme Court on Friday declined to immediately decide former President Donald Trump's claim that he cannot be prosecuted for trying to overturn his 2020 election defeat, allowing a lower court to continue reviewing the issue. The justices rebuffing an extraordinary request by U.S. Special Counsel Jack Smith refused to effectively leapfrog a lower appeal court to speed up a final ruling on Trump's claim of criminal immunity ahead of his trial due to begin in March. Trump hailed the decision on his Truth Social site, where he wrote that the Supreme Court had unanimously rejected Drag Jack Smith's desperate attempt to short-circuit the Constitution. The court issued its decision without explanation in a brief one-page order. No justice publicly dissent. The justice could still decide to consider the issue later. At the Turning Point Action Conference, Republican candidate Vivek Ramaswamy vowed to pardon peaceful January 6th Capitol attack participants, calling it an internal intelligence failure. 538's point showed Ramaswamy with 4% GOP primary voter support, while Trump leads around 63%.
Why am I the only candidate in this race who can say certain things? That January 6th was the product of entrapment, that our money is being sent to persecute Christians from Ukraine to Armenia, something you're not supposed to talk about, to the fact that the climate change agenda is a hoax because it has nothing to do with the climate and everything to do with China.
And rising sea levels pose a grave threat to Nigeria's coastal region, compelling over 80% of Ayatollah's population in the southwest to abandon their homes. For over 8 decades, Ayatollahs flourished, drawing more than 30,000 residents and fostering thriving fishing, textile and shipbuilding industry. However, despite being originally situated several kilometers from the sea, the town has steadily succumbed to encroaching seawater over the past 20 years. In recent years, seawater invasion has become increasingly common, causing widespread property loss.
I was on bed when the water came up. So around 3 o'clock in the midnight, it was someone that even called me that water is already in my frontage. So when I just moved out, everywhere was full of water. So I have to rescue some of my stuff from there. Like 2 days, everything just go inside the sea, so we can't take anything from that building.
The first thing you will notice is that the water will be coming up. It will be coming up, then followed by the wave. The wave will be increasing until you will no more come near it. Nobody will be able to come near it. More than 3/4 of this community has been taken away by the sea. More than 3/4.
And Shanghai is currently witnessing its coldest December period in 40 years as the Chinese financial hub faced weather warning of low temperatures and strong winds, marking the onset of a prolonged cold spell.
When we step outside, we will wear a hat and gloves. Today I also changed to a longer, thicker down jacket. For little children, you dress them with things like face masks because it's really cold. It's really easy to get sick when you breathe cold air. And then there's a hat and windproof clothing, especially for children. I will also give them a scarf like this.
Cold. Today is extremely cold. It is colder than the past few days.
And in the realm of luxury jewelry, some buyers value pieces crafted from lab-grown gems and recycled materials. Designed like poppy earrings made from recycled aluminium reflected this emphasis on sustainability, featuring lab-grown diamonds and pearls grown through regenerative farming.
6 of these can turn into an ingot like this that can then be cast into a pair of earrings like this.
These poppy earrings are made of recycled aluminum. They were crafted by London-based designer Annabella Chan, whose jewelry designs rely on lab-grown diamonds, recycled aluminum, and pearls grown using regenerative farming techniques. Chan says she chose her materials after witnessing what she said were poor working conditions in diamond mines in Sri Lanka.
And that for me was a life-changing experience. So seeing the conditions of how people worked and how little they were paid, and yet these are some of the most precious and valuable commodities there are in the world, just didn't make any sense to me.
In order to make diamonds, Chen relies on suppliers who use technology to capture carbon dioxide emissions that would otherwise be released into the atmosphere.
Diamonds are made of carbon, sapphires are made of corundum, which is an aluminium oxide, rubies are aluminium oxide with chromium. So once you know what things are made of, you can sort of work backwards. So laboratory-grown gemstones are about mimicking the conditions within the earth where gemstones are formed, but in a controlled environment.
In November, the young designer won the Game Changer category at the British Luxury Awards. Chan's company does not give sales figures, but says it has seen strong demand since the COVID-19 pandemic. The lab-grown jewelry market has seen annual growth of 20% in recent years, driving global profits to $15 billion. That's according to Edan Golan Diamond Research and Data. As more producers enter the market, the price of lab-grown diamonds has fallen, and brands are looking to differentiate themselves, especially through designs. Joshua Brahman is the head of diamonds at Pandora, a major retailer of lab-grown diamonds.
Customers buying lab-grown diamonds can enter for a variety of reasons. Maybe for them, the sustainability factor is important. Maybe it's the price-value equation, right? In our case, we believe it's both of those things, but also that we offer really an array of proprietary and very interesting, meaningful, emblematic designs.
For Chan, it's about creating a fine jewelry brand that's highly crafted, but also sustainable and accessible for a broader customer base.
I think working with laboratory-grown diamonds and laboratory-grown color stones for me really brings a glimpse into the future of what fine jewelry looks like, because I think it is about a celebration of science and art together.
And from Putin's uncanny encounter to campaign trails bots, here are the week's top stories from AI Revolution. Explore the rise of bots in the upcoming US presidential election with this report.
From when Putin met his double to how bots are gearing up for the US presidential election.
And I'm an artificial intelligence volunteer for...
This is Generation AI.
Pennsylvania.
Vladimir Putin has met his AI twin. At his annual news conference, the Russian leader was posed a question by a digital version of himself. Aptly enough, the clone asked Putin if he had a lot of lookalikes. Bots are taking to the U.S. campaign trail, too. Democratic candidate for Congress in Pennsylvania, Shemaine Daniels, is using an AI-powered robocaller to contact voters.
My name is Ashley, and
She says the bot, dubbed Ashley, doesn't just recite a script, but can tailor its approach to each individual.
If the person answering is kind of going in a direction that's inappropriate, Ashley has the ability to kind of end that conversation. But on our end, we've made sure that she can't tell lies about me. So whatever she shares will be something that is true.
Google says it will limit how much its Bard chatbot has to say about next year's U.S. presidential election. The restrictions will kick in early next year. Facebook owner Meta has already said it will bar political campaigns from using its AI tools. Pope Francis has been thinking about AI too. He has called for a legally binding international treaty to regulate it. The Catholic leader warned of a technological dictatorship threatening human existence. And bankrupt pharmacy chain Rite Aid has been banned from using AI facial recognition to watch customers for 5 years. U.S. watchdogs say it used the tech to identify shoplifters, but wrongly tagged some innocent shoppers as criminals.
And unprecedented numbers of migrants continued crossing the U.S.-Mexico border into Texas over the Christmas holiday weekend starting on December 23rd. Video footage depicted hundreds of migrants navigating barbed wire on the U.S. side of the Rio Grande River, subsequently being detained by U.S. National Guard troops. Among them were women and children, some dressed for the festive period. And Mexican President Andrés Manuel López announced on Friday that his government would reinforce measures to contain migration. This statement followed a discussion with U.S. President Joe Biden, where both leaders agreed on the necessity of the increased enforcement at their shared frontier due to the disruptive impact of the migrant influx on the border trade. And German police announced highlighting security measures at Cologne Cathedral on December 23, indicating a potential New Year Eve attack. The move follows recent government warnings about the increased threat of Islamist violence. Tracker dogs will be deployed to check the cathedral after evening mass, leading to its closure on Christmas Eve. Security checks for all visitors are scheduled with an advisory to arrive early. Specific details were not disclosed due to an ongoing investigation. Reports suggested that security authorities in Austria, Germany and Spain received indication of a potential Islamist group planning attack during the Christmas and New Year festivities. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching.
I was in New York City. I teach at Pace University and I was sitting in my office and I was working, and I got a call from one of my nephews, Naftali, who had connections with Princeton. And it seems that the Chabad, the emissaries, had been searching around to try and find somebody who could speak Indian languages. So that's how it started.
Go ahead and tell him that we have progress.
जी जी
आप जो चाह रहे थे वो कर रहे हैं यहाँ
ठीक है करें करना पड़ेगा.
My office is in New York City, in Manhattan. So I just took a subway to Brooklyn. So just around about 45 minutes or so away from my office. So I was there in the offices. I don't want to say more, but I was there with other people, and then I was connected to Rabbi Levi Shem Tov, who was in Washington. So I was there in New York. Rabbi Levi Shem Tov was in Washington, and we were talking to people in Mumbai.
Well, he says, well, go ahead and make progress. That's what you got to do.
Tell him that we contacted through the ambassador here to the government in New Delhi, and they need to have 2 more hours. They will arrange someone to call him. So tell him that as long as we do not hear reports on the news of any harm, we can continue the discussion.
लेवी साहब को बताओ कि 2 घंटा टाइम बहुत ज़्यादा है.
Well, he says that 2 hours is too much.
It might very well have been, that Chabad house was targeted because it was close to their main point of attack, which was CST, and the Taj, of course, is just about 10 minutes away. So all that must have transpired in some amount of time, and when they got to Nariman House, it sounds like they went through very quickly. You must remember that all the Chabad houses all over the world are very hospital places. They're open. They're not secret. They didn't used to be secretive. They didn't used to be closed. Really, the purpose was to bring in, any Jews who might be traveling around the world. It was like a home away from home for them. So it must have been fairly easy for these people to get in. And it's not, of course, I don't know exactly what happened, but they probably, I'm guessing, killed a lot of people right at the beginning, because we never had a chance to talk to the rabbi. But the people, the Chabad people, when they heard that there were all these things happening in Mumbai, and also there had been an attack on Nariman House, so they were trying to get in touch with Rabbi Holzberg. But he wasn't picking up the phone. Ultimately, again, I don't know this firsthand, I heard about it. Somebody picked up the phone and was speaking Urdu.